Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to another session of Breeze API. This session will be focusing on how to create a strategy using event-based mechanism of WebSockets. So, very warm welcome again to everybody. So, if you guys recall, last time we discussed how to create a strategy using our trading APIs, Breeze. So we have so far conducted many such webinars in which we educate the audience about what is an API, what the world of API looks like, and how you can use this programmatic way of trading to benefit or develop your own customized trading solution. So this session, just to reiterate, will be focusing on the WebSockets, how we can use them, and how is it more beneficial to programmers who rely on calling APIs at a very frequent interval. Let's say you start calling APIs after every 1 minute and so, but that basically is a uh, overspent of resources, time, and effort, and it might also overload our servers. So this would be a bit technical webinar focusing on the WebSockets. Before we deep dive into this, uh, I would just like to say that ICICI has been doing a fantastical job in organizing a lot of webinars focusing on investment strategies and how the modern way of trading looks like. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please also post all your queries regarding this Breeze API, not necessarily pertaining to this webinar or this. But if you have any queries regarding what an API is or how you can get started with Breeze, do post your queries in the comments section. Our team will reply it as soon as possible. And lastly, if you have any other topic in mind that you want us to cover in the upcoming webinars, do let us know via mail or by posting your comments in the YouTube section. One last thing, our mail ID is breezeapi@ICICI Securities. I'll probably mention it in the midst and at the end of the webinar. So you can drop all your queries in that mail box as well. That's how our team, the API programmers, developers, and the product managers keep track of the business side of it. All right, that is from my side. Let's start the session and coding. That is from my. So a lot of you are familiar with how the basic setup of Breeze API looks like. So just in case you are still having doubts over this, let me show you around the GitHub repo in which we maintain all our source code and the sample codes. So if you go to the GitHub repo and you just search for iDirect dash tech, you will find our GitHub page. It has following 5 repositories, which you can see on screen, I'm sure. One is Python based, one is Java based, one is JavaScript based, and one is C Sharp. We have, because of the popularity of language Python, created a separate repository by name Breeze Python examples. If I open this, you will see we have some sample strategies also here. And if I, let's say, open the SMA RSI Python script, you will see this is how the basic template of the API program looks like. So if you can see at the top is initialize keys, where you can, paste your API key, the secret key, and also the session key. If you are unsure how you can access these keys, make sure you watch our previous webinars or YouTube videos where you can see that. I'll just zoom in a bit so that my screen is visible to all. Okay, so once you have the API secret and session keys in place, you can import libraries, and most important of them is the Breeze Connect. So we keep on updating the Breeze library on a frequent basis. I think we have currently the 34 version. Let's just see that. Okay, we have, yes, 1.0.34 version of Breeze. So make sure you upgrade it using this command, which is pip install upgrade Breeze Connect. Um, that way you can always work with the latest library. We have a lot of patches uploaded onto our source code. So make sure you use the latest library. Coming back, once you have this, this is how you create your session and go live with it. And then obviously related to RSI, we have certain historical data API calling, storing it in a data frame and so on and so forth. In this webinar, what I will show you is how you can do event-based trading. So what event-based trading is, um, a lot of time, what you are doing is before placing an equity or an options order, you're calculating some sort of a technical benchmark on the price or the time series of the particular security. So what people do is, let's say it's the market has already opened. You want to calculate the simple moving average of Reliance Industries for the last 14 days. Or so what they do is they every minute of the day or the trading hour, they call this data API, which gives them the 14-day price of Reliance. They calculate the simple moving average. They check this SMA with the current price. If it is, let's say, greater, then they buy Reliance. So this condition of checking whether the price is greater than an SMA requires a real-time checking, right? You have to check every second, every minute. So people call the data API and every minute or every second of the trading day. The practice is usually discouraged by us because it would involve calling the API at a very frequent interval and would exhaust your rate limit. Currently, we have, I think, 100 API calls per minute and 5,000 API calls per day as the upper cap of the rate. Now, why rate limit is in place is fairly obvious. It's a standard practice across industries. I mean, Google would have a rate limit on Google Maps API. The reason why rate limit is because people don't over abuse the facility. If somebody, let's say, starts running a loop in which an API call is made every microsecond, then it would overcapacitate the servers and the system would crash. That's why the concept of rate limit is in place. Now, the question then becomes, if I have to keep on checking the current price of Reliance and compare it with the simple moving average every second of the trading hour, how can I do that without having to call this API every second? Because if I call it every second, then it would probably be 3,600 seconds every hour. And within 2 hours, I would exhaust my rate limits. The answer is WebSockets. What a WebSocket is, in a very simple language, it's basically how you can establish a connection, a by way channel or a communication line with your broker, in which you will start receiving these live prices via that channel on your system. Now, this is not considered as a more than one API call. It's basically a different technology, different infrastructure. If you have a WebSocket connection with your broker, you can keep on streaming live prices for as many securities as you want without crossing the API rate limit. In this webinar, I will show you exactly that and also show you how you can compare the real-time prices of a particular stock to its simple moving average. And if the price is met, then how you can place a buy order. So let's get started. I hope my screen is visible. So yeah, if you look at the first block of code, this is fairly simple to understand. In this, we have imported all the necessary libraries which would be required for our program. Includes a very standard pandas of Python, the time library, the numerical Python, datetime, and Breeze Connect because we want to work with the SDKs of Breeze. So let me just run this. So since you can see the star, it means it is processing. Okay, it has processed. The next line, I will set up my account, set up my API keys. So I have already initialized my API key, API secret key, and session token above this block of code. I will not hover over that block of code because of confidentiality. It's my personal account. So let's just get started. I will just write the meaning of each block of code, that here we are importing libraries. Here we are setting up my API key. So let's run this. It's processing. So, okay, number 3 means the third block has also run. Now, if I move to the next block of code, this is basically a function to generate a signal. So the signal function basically takes the current price of the security as an input. It then prints the current price, and then it checks that if the current price is greater than a threshold. We will talk about how we have calculated this threshold. Then it should return 1, else it should return 0. Now threshold is a global variable. Okay, global variable threshold. Now it can be, let's say, 120. Okay, now if the current price of the security is uh, more than 120, let's say current price is 130, then the signal would be 1. Okay, this is all that this function is doing. Now if I move a lot more down, you will see this is how where I have calculated my threshold, but we'll get here. The next block of code is my function which calculates the technical indicator. Function to calculate the SMA or any other technical indicator. Okay, I can see somebody comment in the YouTube that they would like the link of the ICICIdirect Tech GitHub. That's completely fine. We will post that soon in the comment section. So let's just go over the code first, and then I'll probably answer all of your questions then. To continue with the code, this is the function which calculates the SMA or any other technical indicator. If you look here, we have a variable now which calculates the current time. Okay, we've used the datetime library in the top. This is what it does. So we have now, then we have from date, which basically is the date 30 days back from today. Now is nothing but today's date, right? Today's date. And this is 1 month back date, 1 month ago. Okay. Now inside this try and accept, programmers would understand, this block of code is basically prone to throw an error. And if it does, then I want to catch it and say that the API request has failed. What I'm doing inside this try block is I am calling the historical data v2 API in which I am fetching the daily prices of whichever stock is stored. The variable stock I will initialize later on, but whatever be the value of this stock, let's say stock is Reliance. Okay, let me write stock is equal to Reliance Industries, RELIND. Okay, so if stock is Reliance, it wants to calculate this API would fetch me the daily closing price from 30 days back to today's date, um, from the exchange. Okay, and stored all the response of the API into the variable data. Okay, the next thing which I would check if the data has been stored successfully, then the status of the API response would be 200. So this is a very standard HTTP concept that if the API call has been made successfully, the status of the API call would be 200. Otherwise, it would be non 200. So if the data status is 200, then I would simply calculate the average moving average of the closing prices. What I have done is I have first converted this data into a data frame in this line. Then I have reduced the size of the data frame by just choosing two columns, date time and the closing price. In this API response, actually, we would have got a lot of data like date time, closing price, open price, so on and so forth. But I just want to work with the time and the closing price. What I have then done is I've converted the closing price into an float format. This is basically parsing into float, right? And the next thing is I have done calculated the SMA. Okay. Finally, when I have calculated the SMA for period days, now period variable also has some value. Period can be 14 days or it can be 29 days, anything. So I have purposefully made the code template in a format that it can be edited by you guys as well. So yes. Now, in case the data status would not have been 200, it would have been 500, which basically signifies a failed request. And I have captured that in the this block of code. Also, if you notice, if everything looks all right, if the data status is 200, I have calculated the SMA and I have returned the value of simple moving average in this line. Okay. So whatever this function, whoever calls this function from whichever place would get in return either an SMA, simple moving average value, or he would get false, which signifies that something in the function has gone wrong. Moving on. Okay, so this is the next block of code, which I have already named. Now, this is a callback to receive text, or let me say WebSocket function. So this function that you see here, def on text, this is a callback function. Okay. What this function does is it basically gets called every time you receive a live feed from your broker or ICICI in this case. So like I've already explained to you what a WebSocket is, right? A WebSocket is basically a two-directional, a bi-directional channel between your system, which in my case is this MacBook, and the ICICI DMAT account. So we have these two ends, and between them is this bi-directional channel. And the live price of Reliance Industries will keep on flowing from ICICI to my system from this WebSocket, via this WebSocket. if you see this function, we have ticks as the argument. Okay, ticks is basically the real-time prices which are coming to my system. If I uncomment this line, if I print this tick, you will see that whenever I switch on my WebSocket, all this will basically, this line will keep on printing the real-time prices of Reliance. So basically, this is what we call an event-based programming. What is happening is at each event, an event is basically every time the price of the Reliance changes. Okay, every time the price of Reliance changes, this function will be called. So at every event, this function will be called, and that's why we call this event-based programming. Now, once we are inside this function, which is every event, we are printing the data which we have received. We are calculating the current price, which is basically ticks last. So if you're familiar with the dictionary data structures, you will find that this is the way to access any value of a dictionary. Okay, so let's say you have, just for example, ticks would look something like this. It would have value A, let's say 10, then it would have value B, 20. It can have name, it can say Salil, and so forth. So this is what a dictionary looks like. And if you have to access, let's say the name, you would write something as like this, print text name. So this is exactly what we are doing inside this function. We are storing the last variable or the last key inside this text dictionary, and we name it as current price. The next thing we do is we are checking if the signal function returns 1 or whether it returns 2. So writing this is the same as writing this. Okay, this is just a nice way of writing that if signal current price is 1, then we want to print that we are placing order. Otherwise, do nothing. It will just, this function will be called automatically again whenever the next event, which is the price of the Reliance, will change again. It will be called. So far so good. This is our callback function, right? We also have created a timer function which controls to control entry and exit time of strategy. What I have done is we can come back to the timer function at a later stage. And this is not very terribly important as of this stage. Let me introduce the WebSocket technology first. Okay, so this is the block of code in which I have initialized all my important variables. First is stock. Okay, you must have seen in my previous block of codes, I'm using this stock. So anything which I am declaring in this section is all global, because since we haven't created any class for this function, every variable can be accessed by every other function. So we have stock, we have period, which I will keep as 14. This is basically days. Okay, so period is 14. Market close. Okay, so market close is basically the exit time that you want to pull out of your strategy. Usually people keep it at 3:30 or 15:25. In my case, since it is 1:27 right now, I will probably keep it 1:30. Okay, at 1:30, my strategy will exit. I'm just going to start it. So it will run for 3 minutes and you can see what exactly is happening. Okay. The next thing is data. This is a list, and inside data, I am storing all my feeds. I'm not sure if I have appended this. Okay, I don't think we would need. Also, you might get confused with this variable, so let me just remove data. Threshold is the variable. So threshold is my critical value, which if gets breached by the current price, I want to place my order, right? So threshold, I am using my get SMA function. So you guys remember this was the get SMA function in which I am fetching the 30-day price of Reliance and calculating the SMA for period, let's say the last 14 days. I'm calculating the average, rounding it off per two decimal, and then returning the value of the SMA. So this value which gets returned gets stored into my variable threshold. Now, the next and the most important thing is to start the WebSocket connection. This is how you establish. API is my variable in which I've created the object of my Breeze Connect library. So I will use this variable .wsconnect. If I go to the top, you will find this is the variable API, okay, which you have to use. So this is how you will start the WebSocket. Just write start WebSockets. And this is you are assigning your WebSocket to callback function. This line basically tells that this function is to be used whenever any event of the WebSocket happens. Okay. I'll just comment out because it will print a lot of data whenever any event will happen. So this I can see somebody comment that will this code be shared? It probably will be, so not to worry. All right, we have now this thing, and lastly, what we want to do is we have to use the WebSocket, subscribe to any security. Okay, this is how you use this. So basically, there are three steps to using the WebSocket. Define the callback function. Okay, start the WebSocket. This is like a switch. You have to switch it on so that the feeds start coming in. And lastly, you have to tell the WebSocket what exactly are you looking for. So it basically looks like this. You have to specify these values: exchange, stock, product type, and whether or not you want the market depth. So if you write market depth as true, it would give you the best 5 bid ask of the security. Otherwise, it would just give you the best bid ask. So just the level 1 data and not the level 2 data. But you can always, if you want a more data, you can always turn it to true. All right, let me see till where I have executed my code. Okay, so this is 3. Let me run this. This is run 4. This is 5. Okay, this is 6. And 7. All right. Okay, before I start the WebSocket connection, let me also explain to you why I have created this timer function. As I wrote, this is to control the exit and entry time. So if you look inside this timer, what it is doing is it is checking what the current time is. And if it is less than my market close, I have already specified my market close to be 130. So this condition would, as of now, since it is 132 now, this condition would be false. So once it becomes false, it moves out and it says print the close down the socket. Okay, so whenever the condition is false, my strategy should exit and it should remain inside this loop whenever market close time has not been reached. Okay, let's say I kept the market close as 3 p.m. So then it would run till 3 p.m. And as soon as the 3 p.m. time would be reached, it would exit out of the loop and it would close everything. So for closing a WebSocket, you have to again unsubscribe. So notice that I subscribed. Here I will have to unsubscribe to my Reliance Industry live feed and then finally disconnect my WebSocket. This is WebSocket disconnect. Okay, so just the way I started the WebSocket, I'll have to exit out of it as well. Now, as long as it remains inside this loop, what it will do is it will keep on printing the current time and also say that the strategy is live. Then it would wait for 5 seconds and check again whether the time has been reached or not. So this is how I keep a track of whether my strategy is live or not, so that even if nothing happens, I still know the things. All right, so far so good. I think I have initialized my variables as well. Let's start the WebSockets. Okay, so as expected, it has printed that this is my current time. Okay, if I look closely, this is 1:34, and I have specified market close or my exit time as 1:30. So obviously it will not go inside this loop and it will close my socket. This is not what I want to do. So right now it is 1:34 or 1:35. Let me just go till 1:37. All right. So I won't run this again. Let me subscribe to the feed. Okay, stock Reliance has been subscribed successfully and it is printing the current price. Also, if you look, this has already been run. I can again run my timer also. Now I have run my second function timer, which is basically just keeping a check whether the strategy is live or not. And as soon as it would hit 1:37, it would close. Now, if you want to know how this, where exactly is this current price getting printed, this is where I'm calculating my current price. And this is where I'm calling my signal function, which was the first function. Signal function is getting called and this is printing the current price. It is also checking whether the current price is greater than threshold or not. If it is greater than threshold, it will return 1. And if it was true, then it would have returned 1 and this function would have printed this placing order. Okay, but since I don't see any placing order, that means my signal function is still returning 0. That means no signal is reached yet. Let's just wait for 1:37 to happen, and after which this WebSocket will be closed automatically by my program. Beyond which, then I will also start printing the SMA value so that you can see for yourself what the comparison looks like. And this is, as you can guess, the current price of Reliance Industries. Okay, we are at 136.59, and this is how this is the last condition where it is closing the socket. All right, this was good. Now let me just clear all outputs. Now this time I will change my function. Okay. Whenever I'm calling my signal function, I want to print the SMA value also. So let me go inside my signal function and let's say current price is this. And a pipe and say that SMA is an SMA value I've stored in my threshold, right? So let's make this. Now this is the revised function definition. Now let's, the WebSocket was disconnected, so I'll have to start my socket again. So, all right, this all looks good. Also, I'll have to change it from 137. It is 138 now. Let's run it till 140. This is already live. I can simply comment this out and do this. WebSocket is starting. And let me subscribe again. Okay, I think I commented this out, right? I disconnected the WebSocket, so I'll have to connect it again. Okay, yeah, now it is starting. Now I will subscribe. Stock Reliance is subscribing. And if you see, it is printing out the SMA value also. So the logic is if the current price is greater than the SMA value, it will place an order, otherwise not. Now you can see the current price is changing every almost every second or less than that. It is the real-time price of Reliance. So 2336.75. Let me just check Reliance share price. It is exactly 2336.75. It is up today. So as soon as this would increase, then SMA, it would place an order, or at least it would print the value of place an order. All right. And some more things. Instead of SMA, you can obviously calculate any other technical indicator and compare this value to that indicator. Also, instead of just putting one if condition, you can put as many if then else condition you want. Okay, so this has closed the socket. Excuse me. So if I go back to my logic, um, okay, this is a function to calculate the SMA or any of the technical indicator. What you can do is, this is the part where I'm calculating the simple moving average, right? You can simply write a block of code to calculate not just SMA, let's say RSI or Bollinger Band or ATR and so on and so forth. So you can do that and return that value. Then other ways in which you can probably tweak the strategy is that when the current price is greater than threshold, you are returning one, which is basically placing an order. So this is a long only strategy. If you want to check for any other conditions, let's say you want to check if current price is less than threshold, half of the threshold, then you want to short the strategy. So you'll probably write something like else if uh, current price is less than 0.5 of threshold, then return -1, and inside your onTick function, this is where the signal price returns. You can check if signal price is equal to -1, then basically do sell the order, sell order, right? So there are a lot many ways in which you can play around with the strategy and do a lot of stuff. But this is a very basic template of playing around with the code. All right. So far, so good. I have commented out this section of place order since I haven't created any function of place order. But if you want, you can always do that, where you can, within a try block, do API place order, where you can provide the entire definition of the place order API. Let's just see that API modify. This is place order, right? So you can simply just copy this and place it here, right? You can do that, and you can comment uncomment this one. So whenever the signal is reached, it will place an order real time, right? All right. That is the basic overview of WebSockets. Let me just see if there are any questions also. Okay, somebody has asked, can we subscribe to multiple tokens at the same time? That's a good question. We can subscribe to as many tokens as we like. So for instance, let's use this. Okay. I can keep this as, let's say, ITC. Okay, and I can keep this as Reliance. Okay, let me comment this out. Now, at the moment, I'm just showing you how WebSockets look like and how they basically throw. Let me just print the text. Let's just comment out this. I don't want to calculate the signals. I just want to print whatever message comes inside the WebSocket function, callback function. Okay. So, okay, current price text. If you want to see the text, let me just print the text only. Okay. Let's see the raw form of what exactly is coming here. All right. This looks good. Okay. Okay. No need to run this. Okay. This I have run. Okay. What is the time right now? It is 1:44. I will keep it at 1:46. And I will start the WebSocket and I will subscribe to both of these feeds. You see, stock ITC has been subscribed successfully. And if you look at the following data, okay, this is the tick for Reliance. Okay, you can see average price is 2,333. Open price, close price. I was using the key last price. Okay, so if I go right, where is the last price? Okay, this is the last price. So every tick is basically a dictionary. Every message is a dictionary, and within it are values like symbol, open, last. I was using this last price. Then another tick came, which was for a different symbol. It is 2885. Okay, this is Reliance only. And okay, this tick 1660 is the token number for ITC, and see, it has given me ITC's last closing price. And it is keep on running for the duration. What I will do is just clear the outputs. Okay, the data is still coming. Reliance Industries. Simple, you just write unsubscribe and that's it. Message stock ITC unsubscribed successfully. It is not printing message Reliance unsubscribed successfully because this is a shell output. So it did print out the Reliance, but on top of it, it replaced it with ITC. So there you are. Now somebody has asked, hi Salil, can you please demonstrate exporting live text to Excel? How to save tick level data in CSV format? That's fairly easy. Let's say, let's remove this. Okay, this you've seen. Let's say you have to subscribe to Reliance. Okay. Inside your OnTix, what you can do is, let's say, tick feed is equal to a list. Okay. And instead of printing this tick, just store this in a list. All the ticks should be stored in a tick. Okay. Let's make this as the new function. So nothing will be printed, or if you want, let's just print the last price. And everything will be stored in an empty list. Okay. store ticks in an empty list. This is how it will do. Okay. So once I subscribe, okay, the reason why it is still printing when I uncommented is because I did not do assigning again. So let me assign it again. I have assigned it again. Now let me just do this again. Okay, so this was the empty list. You remember? This is the empty list in which it has stored so much data. Let me do something like this, which will look better to the eyes. I've converted the entire data into a data frame. Okay, if you see, I have so far received 18 rows of data. If I run this again, I have received more than 18. I have received 32. So if you see, tick feed list is getting updated at every event of the WebSocket. And since I'm printing it into a data frame format, it is showing me like this. Now, converting a data frame is fairly easy. You just have to write to CSV, like test something, test CSV. I think this is the function. Yes. So this is test CSV. If I use, okay, if you see, I have test CSV in my computer saved. If I open this, I have received this in a CSV format. So since I'm using a MacBook, I have opened numbers. If you want to store it in an Excel, if you work on a Windows, it will be stored to an Excel and Excel will automatically open. So this is how you store it in an Excel or CSV format, same thing. And yeah, coming back, see, it was fairly simple. This is converting into data frame. And this is converting to CSV. All right, guys. This is majorly it, what I wanted to cover in this session. I hope you guys liked the session. And if you have questions, I would be more than happy to take them. Please put them down on the comment section. Okay, somebody has asked, I need to export the last price to one cell in an open workbook, live ticker. So, Sanjay, if you want to do that, you'll have to keep on saving the data frame into an Excel at every event. Okay. So, a better way to do that would be use the file management way of Python. Okay. Use something like with F open. You have to, keep on writing the file and open a file and things like that. That would be a better way to do, but yes, you can obviously do that. Somebody's asked, what about the limit of callback? It is a limitless activity. There are no limits to the callback function. This function will run for the length of the market. So if you switch it on at, let's say, the WebSocket at 9:30 and you put this market close as 15:30, it will run for each second for the entire duration of the market. There is no limit to a callback function. That is why it is recommended not to use the data API so much or get quotes or get option chain quotes API so much. Use WebSockets. It's a very powerful technology and it is basically the standard way of doing things. All right. People have asked me if this code will be shared on GitHub. So yeah, most definitely we will upload it onto our GitHub community, and hopefully we will update it a bit also. So for instance, in the signal function, I have given placing an order as a simple comment. I will try to create a place order function also so that you do not have to go over the hassle of placing your punch in order also. Also, we'll try to create more such technical indicator functions, and so that you can play around. Um, Make sure that you reach out to us and mail us if you have any other queries, or if you want us to cover any other topics of the API, or would like to see some sample strategy in webinars. So we are open to ideas, and please help us in um, getting or reaching out to you, so that we can make the trading experience via API for you much better. All right, one last question: is the market data and execution system production ready? It is. So this is, if you are referring to the WebSocket, it's already live. It is in production. It is ready to go. But if you're asking me the data API or the execution system, it's all ready. I mean, people have been using Breeze API for I think quite some number of months now. We kept it in beta phase initially, but currently it is stable enough that you can try out your hand in algorithmic or API trading. Um, Okay, AJ, you're asking that you get returned this packet queue is empty error. That is correct. I mean, it's a good observation. Some of the users complained that the connection gets broken, but that is the reason why I said that please use the latest library. We have done a lot of improvement in our source code. Just go to the library and update it to the 34 version by using this command or upgrade command, and you will not see the packet queue empty error again. So will recording be made available? Absolutely. I mean, the very link which you have opened this webinar, this will remain live, and you can always find my webinars on YouTube for academic purposes or for trading purposes. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining in. It was a pleasure hosting, and keep a track of this space to view the incoming webinars in the future as well. So that is all from my side. Stay tuned and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to never miss an update from ICICI Direct.